advanced market structure. So let's continue here. So I'm going to show you more. Now let's see how that happens on the real chart. Let's go to Euro USD here and see how change of character happened. Right, as you can see, we are seeing that this market was previously a downtrend here, and then it changed to an uptrend. So how did that happen? Let's see how that happened. Right, let's see how that happened. All right, let's see how that happened. All right, this is a daily time frame on Euro USD. Now let's see this. Now watch this closely. This was previously a downtrend. As you can see from here, we have what? All right, let me even show you from this place. Right, I think it's much more clearer here. It's much more clearer here. Let me show you from here. This was an uptrend before, and then as you can see, it changed to a downtrend. So how did that happen? Now let me show you. We have from here, we have higher high, higher low. We know that. Then we have this higher high, higher low. Then we have this. We can call this. This is not going to. I'm not going to call this higher high, right? So let me just say this becomes my higher high, higher low, and this one gave us what, a little bit of break of structure there, but then we will not call this a break of structure. This is just a high, right? So we're expecting this low to get broken, right? This low to get broken, a change of character. So this low get broken like this. This becomes what? This becomes our change of character, right? This becomes our change of character, as you can see. This becomes our change of character. Once we have our change of character, we're just going to wait for what? A pullback. We got the pullback. Now this will be the perfect opportunity to start selling. See, this was a very good trade. This was a very good trade. After we see what a change of character right there. So that's how change of character happens. That's how change of character happens. Let's see change of character in this other scenario. As you can see, the market changed from a downtrend to an uptrend, right? So let's see how change of character happened here. Guys, we are still going to need the knowledge of this change of character to actually see a lot of things. This is going to teach us a lot of things. Now let's see this on this aspect, right? It works on every time frame. It works on a lot of things. Now let's see from here. We have lower low, lower high. We have lower low, lower high. So you need to be able to mark out your path properly. I have a video that explains how to mark out your path properly. And then here we have what? Lower low. Guys, now watch this. Watch this, right? Watch this. I'm going to mark out my point of interest, right? Let me show you. This is my point of interest, the recent highest point, right? And then the recent lowest point. Now, for this market to keep being a downtrend, right? This one should not get broken, right? It should not get broken. That's what the rule. Now, but then see what happened. Internal structure. Everything happening here became internal structure. We have what? High, low, higher, high. We have this low, and then we have this break of structure. I mean, change of character here. Once we have this change of character, I'm not just going to start buying here. I'm waiting for what? A pullback. And then we have this pullback. And then this will be a perfect time to buy. And then look at what happened. The market started going on. Perfect entry. After a change of character. So that is how change of character works. It's going to help us a lot. Now, there's one important thing I need to now talk about. Now, again, we are getting to advanced market structure. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Now, this is where so many of you will get it wrong. Now, we know it's an uptrend. We know in an uptrend, we are going to be expecting to see higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And then sometimes, something like this happens. You'll see what? Your higher high, and then you're expecting to see higher low, right? You're expecting to see higher low. You now understand what market structure. And then you're expecting to see higher low. And then you see something like this. You see something like this. And then you see this push, and you're like, oh, I've gotten my higher low. This is going to give us a break of structure. But then that did not happen. But instead, something like this happened again. Taking out your stop loss, took out your stop loss like this. And then it gives you another push, like, oh, maybe this is where the market wants to start going up from. You start buying here, putting your stop loss there, but then it takes it out again. And you're like, what is going on? And now gives you this push again. You are scared to take the trade, and then it was this one that now actually went up and give you what? Your break of structure. Like this. So the question is, and this is something I struggled with a lot when I just started trading. How can I know that it is here the market is going to start going up from? A lot of people will start taking fake trades, taking this or taking this, thinking the market is going to go up from here, but then the market will just take them out. They think it's going to go up from here, it's going to take them out. How can you tell that it is here that the market is going to start going up from? How can you tell? That is the question. Now, there are a lot of ways you can get to know that this is here where the market is going to start going up from. Of course, I'm going to be talking about a few of them right here in this section. Of course, we have our fair value gap and order block, which is a very important topic that I'm eager to even talk about right now. This is what I actually want to talk about today. But you guys need to understand the concept of market structure before you even understand this order block and fair value gap, right? Now, how can I tell? Now, imagine you do not understand order block, right? You do not understand order block and fair value gap, right? Again, you are supposed to have multiple confirmation before you can actually know that it is here the market is going to start going up from. Now, you're going to see this, you're going to understand this clearly, and you're going to see that forex trading is not gambling. If you understand, you can actually make consistent profit with this, right? Now, let me show you. Now, aside from order block, like I said, there are different ways you can use to know that it is here the market is going to start going up from. We're going to be using the concept of market structure alone to know that it is here the market is going to start going up from. Now, let me show you how. You want to listen attentively here. This is very important. Everything we have been doing is to get to this point. Right? So, let me show you. Let me show you. Now, let me show you this. In an uptrend, we see this higher high, higher low, and then we saw this, right? So how can I know? My question is, I want to get to know where this market is going to get to before it continue going up. We know this an uptrend is going to give us a higher low before it continue. How can I tell where it's going to get to? Now, this is how. Let me show you. Using market structure alone. Let me show you. Now, what I'm just going to do is, remember, I'm on a daily time frame. Let's assume I'm in a daily time frame. What I'm just going to do is, I'm going to go down to the lower time frame, like the 4 hours or the 1 hour. I most time use the 1 hour. I'm going to go down to the 1 hour time frame, and then this is what I'm going to do. This move that is going to look like this on the daily time frame is going to look like this on the 1 hour. It's going to look like this: lower low, lower high on the 1 hour, lower low, lower high on the 1 hour, lower low, lower high. It's going to look like this, guys. So what am I looking for here on the 1 hour? I am looking for what? A change of character. A change of character. My recent highest point, my recent lowest point. Once I see my change of character here, this becomes my change of character. Remember, I know I'm just looking for where the market is going to start going up from. I know at some point the market is going to start going up from. I'm looking for a change of character. Once I get my change of character here, this becomes my change of character. Once I get my change of character, what am I waiting for? I'm going to just wait for what? The market to give me what? This pullback. I'm not just going to start buying from here. I know in an option I have higher high. I'm going to wait for the higher low to happen. And then when this move start happening, now this even will give you a good risk to reward. Because now I can now enter my trade here, right? Enter my trade here, put my stop loss just right here. And then I'm going to target the daily what? Break of structure like this. Good, perfect risk to reward. Perfect risk to reward. And then we are now expecting something like this to happen. Perfect. Now, going back to the daily time frame, you are then going to now see something like this: higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, then higher high. Perfect. You see why market structure is very important. You see how we brought everything together. You see how we brought everything together. How change of character is important. How break of structure is important. You see that? Now, let's see this in a downtrend scenario for those that really do not understand. Let's do this for a downtrend scenario. Alright? Let's do this for a downtrend scenario. Please, if you do not understand the concept of change of character, you will not understand this, right? So you need to understand change of character. So let's see this in a downtrend scenario. In a downtrend, we're expecting to see lower low, lower high. We saw this lower low like this. Now, how can we tell? The question is, we want to know where the market is going to get to before it's start coming back down, right? That's what we want to know. So what I'm just going to do is, let's say this is a 4-hour time frame. Again, this works on every other time frame. Let's assume this is a 4-hour time frame. What I'm just going to do is, I'm going to go down to the lower time frame, like the 1 hour or the 15-minute time frame. And then this move that is supposed to look like this on the 4 hours is now going to look like this on the 15 minutes or the 1 hour. It's going to be like this: higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. It's going to look like this. So what am I looking for here on this lower time frame? I am looking for what? I am looking for a change of character. How do I do that? I'm going to mark out what? My recent highest point, and then my recent lowest point. And what am I waiting for? A change of character. Once I see a change of character like this, this becomes my change of character. Once I see a change of character like this, I know the market has now want to start going down, which is now what? Collaborating with my higher time frame analysis, right? So in a downtrend, lower low, I'm not just going to start selling. I'm going to wait for a pullback, lower high. And then once this push now starts, of course, there's still what we call entry signal. That was something I'm going to be showing you guys in my VIP group. There's one entry signal that you need, all right? Something called entry signal. Now, that entry signal is going to give you perfect risk to reward. Now, and then this will be my stop. It's going to even give you good risk to reward because you can now use a very tight stop loss and target what? You're then going to target the 4 hours break of structure like this. And then we're then going to have something like this. Now going back to the 4 hours, it's now going to look like this: lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then lower low. Perfect. This will become what? A break of structure. Perfect. Perfect. That is how you use just the concept alone, guys. There are other things that we're going to be using to know where we need to start selling from. Now imagine the market giving you a change of character at a point of interest, like at an order block or a fair value gap. Now we're going to be talking about fair value gap and order block just now. Just listen. Imagine the market giving you a change of character at a place that you think the market is going to start going down from. That is double confirmation. That is double confirmation. All right. What about 30-minute time frame? Again, I'm still going to talk about time frame. Time frame does not really this thing works on all time frame. Now, for the sake of those that are just joining my live for this first time, click the link to join my Telegram channel if you want to keep getting content like this. You want to know how to trade from A to Z. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about all these topics one after the other. You don't want to miss out on that. You don't want to miss out on that. Trust me. Now, another thing there is I have a VIP group where we're going to be going live on Zoom. I'm actually going to be teaching you going live on Zoom together. And then it's just the same concept. Someone said I understand the same concept but not the buy concept. Now, I'm going to show you guys on the chat. So if you want to join my VIP group, it's just $30 to join. And it's a one-time payment, $30 to join. We're going to go live on Zoom. There are a lot of things I cannot even share here on the can you do it live chat on real account so you can understand better? Yeah, we do this on the real chat. So like I said, link to your YouTube. Just join my Telegram channel and I'm going to drop the link right there. All right, so let's continue here. Let me show you guys something now. One important thing again. One more important thing that I need to talk about before I go to the chat. Now look at this. What we have, I'm still going to be taking questions. Watch this. We have, hold on, 1 minute. Okay, so let's continue, right? Let's continue here. Hold on, 1 minute. Can you use 4 hours time frame for technical analysis and use 1 hour time frame for entries? Again, time frame is not as important. You can use whatever time frame you want. But then trust me, the higher the time frame, the better. Right now, let me show you this. Now, in an uptrend, we know we are going to be having a higher high, higher low, higher high. Now, another important thing that you need to know is, let me even show you. Let me talk about this properly. Now, one thing you should know is we have higher high, higher low. Once you have a break of structure, immediately you have a break of structure, you should start anticipating a pullback. Guys, I'm not saying once there's a break of structure, a pullback start happening. No, I said immediately you have a break of structure. This is a break of structure. You should start anticipating a pullback. Once I have a break of structure, I'm not looking for buying opportunities, except I have a very good reason for that. All right. Once I have a break of structure, I am not looking for buying opportunities. Now, how do you know when a pullback start happening? That's another thing. Because of course, here we can still look for a selling opportunity here. So how can we know when this pullback can start happening? Because you can go and start selling now and the market continue going up, right? You cannot tell exactly when the market will start selling. All right, so you need to be able to know, and then we can use the same concept of market structure to tell when the market is going to start going down, right? So let's say I'm on the 4 hours, for instance, and it is right. We have had our break of structure. What I'm just going to do again, I'm going to go down. Someone said drop the Telegram link. It's on my bio. Go to my bio. You're going to see the Telegram link right there. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm on the 4 hours. I'm just going to still again go down to the lower time frame, like the 1 hour or the 15 minute, and it's going to look like this: higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So what am I looking for here, guys? Again, I am looking for my change of character. I'm going to mark out my point of interest, the recent highest point, the recent lowest point. So once I see what my change of character, this becomes what my change of character. Once I see my change of character, it means the market does now want to start what is retracement. All right, it wants to start its correction or retracement. So I'm just going to, once I have this one, I'm going to wait for what, a pullback, and then this will be opportunity to start selling. All right, this will be opportunity to start selling, and I'm going to target what, the next point of interest, which is what, my fair value gap. We're going to talk about fair value gap shortly. I'm going to target my fair value gap with what, my tight stop loss like this, right? It's as simple as that. And then we can now have something like this happen. Can now have something like this happen, and then a continuation like this. We can now have something like this happen, right? We can now have something like this happen. All right, you can see. Someone says it's not opening. Just copy the link. And paste it in your browser, and then it will. So what about liquidity sweep? We are going to get to liquidity. As you can see, we're taking this one after the other. We've talked about market structure, break of structure, change of character, advanced market structure. The next thing we're going to be talking about is order block and fair value gap, right? Order block and fair value gap. Now let's see this on the wheel chart first before we get to order block and fair value gap. What if the pullback doesn't happen inside the change of character? I do not understand your question. I do not understand your question. All right, so let's go to the wheel chart here and talk about change of character again. Let me show you guys this properly. Now look at where the market currently is, right? Let me show you where the market currently is, what the market is currently doing on Euro USD. Now look at this, right? We're currently having what, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We're expecting what, a higher low. So what am I just going to see to know that this higher low has started? I'm going to look for a change of character on the slower time frame, right? So this is the daily time frame. I'm going to go like to maybe the 4 hours to see if I'm going to see it clearly. I'm going to go to the 4-hour time frame, and then look at this. Look at the change of character here. Look at this on the 4-hour time frame. Look at this move on the 4-hour time frame. Just watch properly. Right? On the 4-hour time frame, from here we have our higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We have this low, this high, and then we have this change of character. And what are we expecting? This, and you see why I entered this trade, guys. You see why I'm currently in this trade. We are going to see this and this, a continuation to this level. We are currently on this trade. But then this trade, actually, I'm going to tell you why this trade is not something we use with a very big loss. We actually use a very small lot size for this. And then when we start getting to order block and fair value gap, we are going to understand why. We are going to understand why. Because we still have what, a valid order block right here that we think the market might still want to get to. All right, so it is still going to be the same thing, because look at this. It's going to now look like this. From here we have the lower low, lower high, lower low. We're expecting that the market could potentially get here, lower high, and do this. Right, so the market could literally take us out on this trade, but we just use a very small loss. We make aware of the we were aware of the, what's it called, we were aware of this here, because we have another order block here that we think the market might actually respect. As you can see, we're currently on that order block. This is Euro USD, right? So we're currently on that order block, and we do not want to miss out on this trade, because of course that's why we had to take this trade. We are currently in this trade. We are probably on a drawdown right now. I'm sure of that, a little bit of a drawdown right now, but then we are still looking out for this trade, and we're still watching for this trade. Now, someone said how to identify fair value gap. Now that's where we're getting to. Fair value gap and order block. Now this is a very, very important topic. All right. How can you differentiate between higher low and lower low? That's another question. You have to watch my video. Now, what is Euro USD? Now let's do what is order block and fair value gap. What is order block and fair value gap? Now let's talk about that. I'm going to be using this GBPNZ to illustrate that. Someone said, what is your YouTube? Just join my Telegram channel, and then you're going to see all that there. Alright? All these classes are also available on YouTube channel. Yeah, they are all available on my YouTube. Even well explained and well documented. Now let's talk about order block and fair value gap. Now listen to this. Now there is no way we are going to talk about order block. How to identify structure. we are going to talk about that briefly later on. So there is no way you can talk about what there's no way you can talk about. I don't understand what you're saying. Where is the MS? What do you mean by MS? All right. There is no way we can talk about order block without talking about fair value gap. Fair value gap is a very, very important topic. So how do we identify fair value gap and what is fair value gap? Now let me show you what fair value gap is. Let me show you what fair value gap is. Market structure shifts. It's still change of character. All right, so let me show you what fair value gap is. Let me use this move here to show you what a fair value gap is. All right. All right. So what is a fair value gap? So I'm going to ignore the comment section for now. So just listen to this. All right. So what is the fair value gap? Now let me show you. This part is very, very important. If you do not get this, you will not understand what fair value gap is and what order block is. So you need to really listen to this. So where is the fair value gap here? Now watch this. Before I talk about fair value gap, one thing you should know is a forex market has to be efficient. There's something called efficiency and inefficiency in the forex market. Now this is how it's supposed to look like. The forex market is supposed to be like this. This is how a chart is supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like this. Very efficient. No space. All the space here is supposed to be filled. But then we used to get something like this sometimes. And I'm going to tell you why later on when we start talking about liquidity and all. So we are going to be getting something like this sometimes. We are going to see a very push like this, a good push to the upside like this. Then we're going to see something like this and a continuation. One thing you should know is that anytime you see something like this, that there is a gap, a fair value gap here, you should know that at some point in the future, the market is going to come back like this to fill in that gap before continue going up. This becomes an efficient market. That's why sometimes some people will say, okay, this is an uptrend now, but why this thing did not respect this? Why did it not break through this level? And people will think, okay, this is now change to a downtrend, right? It does not change to a downtrend. And then they are selling this, they are looking for selling opportunity, and the market gets and continue going up. Like, what is going on? It's like this thing is gambling. No, because there is actually what? A gap here, an inefficiency here. There's an inefficiency here that this one did not fill. If this one had filled this one, then this one would not have to come all the way down. But because there is still a gap here that has not been filled, the market will definitely come back later in the future to fill it. That's something that you need to understand. And then you need to be able to recognize all this thing properly. Now, let me show you. Let's show you all this on the charts. Let's see how this happens. Now, let me see if I can see an example of that. Aha. Now, look at this is an example. Look at this. Let me look for a very, very good example. I'm looking for a very perfect example. Aha, look at this one now. Look at this market. You will think that, okay, this is not a very good example. I'm trying to look for a very good example. Okay, I'm going to find it. I'm going to find a very good example for us. Aha, look at this one here. Look at this level here. Look at this. This was a downtrend. Look at this. This was a downtrend, right? We have lower low, lower high, lower low. And then we're expecting what a lower high and a continuation. But look at the market did this, and look at this. Why? Why would the market do something like this? Why? All right? And then before it continue going down. So there are a lot of things that inefficiency will really help us to get clearly. But then let's talk about fair value gap first before we now go into the market and spot all those levels. And it's really going to help you a lot. Now, what is a fair value gap? How can we know if there's a gap somewhere? All right, look at this. Look at this candle here. Anytime you see in an uptrend or a downtrend, you see a very long candle like this. You see a very long candle like this, right? One candle that moves to one particular side, whether up or down, that moves very strong, a very bullish or bearish long candle like this. What you need to do is you have to check the candle before that candle and the candle after that candle, right? So you're looking at three candles. The candle before the push and the candle after. So just look at, as long as those two candles are not touching each other in any way, like a wick or anything, they are not close, they are not touching each other. Let me show you. Look at this first candle here. This is where it ended before this one started. And this is where it started before this one ended. This is the highest point of this candle. And then the third candle there, This is the lowest point of that third candle. This is the lowest point of that third candle. As you can see, there's a space in between them here. This is the fair value gap. This space in between them is the gap. And it needs to be filled. It's going to definitely be filled. It's definitely going to be filled later in the future. And then look at what happened. The market move up like this and then come back down to fill it. Even twice. It came back down to touch it, came back down again to fill it completely before it started going up. Alright? Before it started going up. Now let's look at another level here. Look at this, another gap here. This candle here is a tiny one, but there's a gap there. Look at this, there's a gap here too, as you can see. And then what am I expecting? The market coming back there to fill it. And then look at this, the market came back there to fill it. As you can see, this is a perfect view here. As you can see, the market came back there to fill it. Alright, to make sure this move is efficient. Now look at this level here too. There's also a gap here. And then look at what happened again. The market came back to fill it. It has to be efficient. It's going to come back to fill it. And look at what happened again. Let's see. Let's see, there's the gap here. There is no gap here, as you can see. There is no gap here. Everything here is efficient. It's filled, as you can see. No gap here. And then if you check here, there's a gap here. Again, there's a gap here. And then look at what happened. The market came back there to fill it. Now, those gaps there serves as what points of interest, because that is where the market will come back and bounce off from. It serves as what point of interest. That is what we call fair value gap. It serves as point of interest. Now look at another gap here. Let's see this. There's another gap here in this move. That what happened? It came back to get filled, as you can see. Came back to get filled, as you can see. It serves as what? A point of interest. As you can see, came back to get filled. You can try this out too for a lot of market. And look at what is happening currently here, where this market is. There's another gap here that has already been tapped into, as you can see. As you can see, and it's already going up. Perfect. That is what a fair value gap is. It has to be filled. It has to be filled. It has to be filled. Now, what if we now understand what a fair value gap is? What then is an order block? What then is an order block? Does the gap works every time? Yes, it works every time. Now, I'm going to show you some misconception, right? Why sometimes it feels as though it doesn't work. Now, I'm going to show you, all right? I'm going to show you. Just stick around. Now, guys, listen attentively. Imagine the kind of knowledge you're getting here on TikTok. Imagine the kind of knowledge you will then get in my VIP group. So, if you really want to understand forex trading properly, you need to join my VIP group. It's just $30 to join. And I try to make it very affordable, so a lot of people will be able to afford it, and a lot of people will be able to. So how about multiple fair value gap? All right, I'm going to talk about that. We're just talking about locating them. Order block. Okay. Do you do mentorship? That's what I'm saying. All right. Just $30 to join my VIP group. I'm just starting a new VIP group right now. So if you are interested, just $30. I don't need a lot of people in my mentorship group. I just need like 10 people in my mentorship group. 10, 15 or max 20 people. So let's find how do we locate or how do we recognize order block. Now we know how to recognize fair value gap now. So how do we recognize order block? Before we then now see how we can then use them to trade. Alright? How we can then use them to trade. Now let me show you. Once you are able to recognize fair value gap, you then have already recognized an order block. Now let's go back to here. Again, where is our fair value gap in this move? We already know that this is our fair value gap here in this move, right? This is our fair value gap in this move, right? This is our fair value gap. Now, where then is our order block? Now, the order block is the first candle. Remember I said we were looking at 3 candles. 1, 2, 3, right? The first candle here becomes, the total of this first candle becomes our order block. The entirety, just mark out the total of this first candle. It becomes what? Our order block. It becomes our order block. It becomes our order block. Now the question is, should I be using fair value gap or order block when trading? A lot of people prefer to use order block, and I'm going to tell you why. Now let me show you some more examples. I'm going to tell you why people prefer order block to fair value gap. I'm I'm going to show you why. Let me show you. Again, I'm going to show us how to locate what order block. There's no this thing here. There is no fair value gap here. Now look at here. Where is the fair value gap here? Let me use this to mark out my fair value gap. This is my fair value gap here. As you can see, the market respects what our fair value gap here. And again, like I said, once we look at our fair value gap, the first candle here becomes our order block. This is our order block here. As you can see, if we were to be using order block, the market did not get to our order block, so we would have missed out on this trade if we were to be using what? Order block. Now look at this one here. This is what? This is our what? Fair value gap, right? This is our fair value gap. So the idea is immediately the market taps into your fair value gap, you enter a trade. That is the idea. You enter a trade like this, but then look at what then happened. And then your stop loss will be just below what? Just below the gap, right? Just below the gap. This is how you're supposed to do it reasonably. But then look at what happened. If you did not take out, of course, this gives you a good profit. If you did not take out your profit here, and the market came back here, it would have taken you out, right? You would have taken out your stop loss. But then if you were to be using the idea of what? Fair value gap, order block, this would have been your entry right here, and your stop loss right here, and then you have targets where to take profit right there. As you can see, this was what? A perfect what? Trade. This was a perfect trade, as you can see. This was a perfect trade. Now let me now show you something. Let's now understand something, right? Let's not be biased. Let me understand. Let me show you something. Now the reason me personally prefer to use, now this is what some traders do, right? Some traders will say, or we do it this way. Okay, I'm going to use fair value gap. I'm going to use the gap for my entry. Some people will do it like this. They'll use their gap for the entry and then put their stop loss below what? Below the order block here like this. This is not giving you a good risk to reward. Look at this. This is not giving you a good risk to reward. Compare this to this. Compare this to this. Look at the risk to reward here. This I would have entered here. My stop loss will be here. And my take profit will be here. Now look at the risk to reward for both of this. That is why a lot of people prefer to use what? Order block to fair value gap as an entry. But then again, fair value gap is very important because you cannot mark out an order block without the fair value gap being present in that leg, right? So, but then again, there are ways to use both order block and fair value gap for your entry, right? Again, those are the things that I'm going to be showing you guys what in my VIP group. Now let's go back to what our Euro USD. Now let's put this knowledge and put it in our Euro USD, right? Let's go back to Euro USD. Our analysis on Euro USD. Let's go back there. Guys, are you understanding this whole thing, please? Are you guys understanding this? Are you guys understanding this? Are you guys understanding this? Alright, my network went off a bit there. How do I identify a take profit position in a setup? Again, I'm going to talk about that shortly. Right? I'm going to talk about that shortly. That's a very good question. Now look at this. Look at this. This is what an egg trade, right? We know that from Euro USD, right? We know that. That's what I've been hammering on Euro USD. We understand that. We understand market structure already. We know this is an uptrend. As you can see, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? And it is coming down. So how do we know where it's going to get to before start going up, right? That's the question. How do we know? Of course, we can use the concept of market structure to do that. But then let's use what we just learned, right? Let's see, is there a fair value gap here? Look at this. Look at this move here. There's actually a gap here. Look at this. There's actually what? A gap here. Let me use this for the gap. There's actually a gap right there. So again, guys, if you are selling, if you are going against the trend like I am doing right now on Euro USD, if you are going against the trend, you're selling here, right? You have looked for a very good entry here and you're selling here. We use our fair value gap for what? Our take profit. We use fair, let's say I sell here now. All right, I sold here, my stop loss here. I'm going to use the beginning of my fair value gap as my take profit. Because of course, the market could literally get to what? Our fair value gap and start continue going on, right? It's very risky. So we use what? Our fair value gap, of course. But then if you want to enter this, if I want to enter the trade here, I've taken out my profit with the fair value gap. I'm then going to use the order block as my entry. Look at this. This is the order block here. This would be a perfect entry. The market come down like this. As you can see, it's giving us lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. If you come down and tap into what? Tap into my order block. I'm just going to wait, look for what? Let me show you properly. This is what I'm going to expect in here. As you can see here, we are seeing this as a downtrend. We are seeing this as a downtrend. From here, we have our lower low, lower high, lower low. We are seeing a lower high. So we are going to be seeing this happening. Tap into my order block. See, another thing you can get to do is, after you tap into your order block, just going to wait for what? A change of character. Change of character. Right? You're waiting for a change. This becomes my change of character. Here, a double confirmation. So once I get my change of character, I'm just going to wait for what? A pullback like this. And then this will be what? A perfect entry. Enter here, and I can have a tight stop loss right here. And then I'm going to sort that for the person that's asking where to use as a take profit. I'm going to use what? I know a break of structure is going to happen, so I'm going to use that high there as my take profit. Please, but you trade synthetic index too? Yes, I even trade synthetic index most of the time. Guys, I just don't enter trade on currency pair. I trade prompt firm on currency pair. Again, that's another thing I offer. If you want me to help you pass the prompt firm challenge, just send me a DM. I can help you do that. And we're going to talk about the details and all that. So I take a very good risk to reward. I don't trade so many pairs on currency pair. I really trade a lot on synthetics index, right? I really trade a lot on synthetics. How much to pass from? Send me a DM. I cannot talk about details here on TikTok. TikTok's gonna ban my live section. Right. So let's do analysis on gold. We have just been here stuck on EUSD. Let's do analysis on gold. I trade gold a lot of the times. We currently took profit on gold, right? We currently took good profit on gold. Let's see here on gold. As you can see, we currently took a profit a lot. Right? We actually used this to pass the prompt challenge last week, and today actually, this morning we have actually taken a profit. Last week was very good on gold, as you can see, was very good on gold, and then this week we've already taken profit. All right, today on gold, as you can see. All right. So let's do analysis on gold. Let's see what is happening on gold. Let's go to the daily time frame. Let me get all this one off. Right here. All right, so let's see what is happening on gold. Let's see. Someone is saying I should check synthetic index. I'm not going to be doing synthetic index here, right here. Now let me show you what is happening on gold right here. Now let's talk about our order block and fair value gap a bit here on gold too, and see how it has been reacting to gold lately. How gold has been reacting to it. All right. So look at this. Look at this. Let's talk about this from here. From this move here, we have what our fair value gap here, as you can see, and the market respect what our fair value gap, as you can see. The market respects fair value gap here, as you can see. So my rule for fair value gap and order block is, when you're on the higher time frame, look at fair value gap more. When you're on the lower time frame, like from 4 hours, 1 hour, look at order block more. And that's just it. All right. So look at here too. We have here a gap here. As you can see, we have a gap here that has not been tested. What is this telling us, guys? That sometime in the future, the market will still come here. All right, we also have another gap here that the market respected, as you can see. So sometime in the future, I'm expecting gold to give us a very good sell. Gold is going to fall a lot because, of course, it's still going to come filling this gap here. As you can see, at some point in the future, we are going to expect gold to come